Hello there, and welcome to Sovereign Voices. I am Rene Dubois. I like to think this is the platform for those with a voice, but no platform, and for those with a platform, but no voice. Sovereign Voices was created because I've lived in 40 countries around the world, and I've heard the voices of people in every nation you can imagine, with thoughts, concerns, and burdens that have left them stifled, unheard, and excluded. I want to talk about today here on Sovereign Voices cognitive bias. I'm continuing the new current Think Leadership series. In this broadcast, I'm talking about the illusion of knowing and why certainty can be dangerous and what leaders must unlearn to lead well. If you're in the United States, you might be among the millions of Americans who feel that the current leadership and the entire administration not only are not qualified to be in place, in power, in office, but have no clue. But before I get started, please, I'm asking you to like and subscribe so that I might continue bringing you information that hopefully you're finding encouraging, thought-provoking, and inspiring. Remember, my mantra is touch, heal, and inspire. That's what I'm all about. And that is what I do currently through my startup, Excel Mind, which you'll be hearing about down the road, and how Excel Mind is going to help you, your family, your children. You know, this current administration has changed a lot of things in terms of books being removed and history. I got you, baby, so don't worry. Down through the years, while living in more than 40 countries, I can tell you, hopefully I don't look old enough to have achieved such a task. Oh, la, 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 la. But I am old enough. I'm just not telling you how old I am. But listen, I'm grateful and happy to be alive. Look here, Sugarfoot. I work hard on this face, baby. And if I told you my ass, oops, excuse me. If I, if I told you my age, you wouldn't believe me anyway. But I've heard often that the greatest barriers to truth, it's not really ignorance. It's the illusion of knowing. And I'm trying to create an illusion here, and I'm just screwing up really bad here, using curse words that I had no intention of saying. But listen, we're talking about cognitive bias. And I'm sure your thoughts are going all over the place, just as my tongue is, but I've got control of my tongue. Let me help redirect your thoughts. In a world that, quite frankly, is overflowing with information, AI, artificial intelligence, knowledge is power. It always has been. Look, folks, it always will be. But what if that knowledge that you have or that others have is incomplete? What if it's distorted? Or worse, what if it's a product of your own internal blind spots? Who can I name that would fit that very description? I think the first letter would be D, as in David, or no, as in Donald. And the next letter to the last name would be T, As in talk? No. As in Trump. Okay, I'll be nice, I'll be kind, I'll be sweet. Let's get into what this broadcast, this episode is about. It is my new and current episode from my series on Think Leadership. And I want to briefly sort of pull back or peel back layers of what I call and what is also known as cognitive confidence with clarity. The dangerous tendency of people like you and me, individuals, hardworking people, some rich, some poor, some too rich for their own good, but also doctors, nurses, especially leaders, make the mistake of familiarity for understanding and assumptions for trade or for fact, not trade, but for facts. Trade is on my mind, yeah? Having said that, if someone is familiar with something that they think they know, is it really that they don't know? Let me ask you this. What is cognitive bias to you? Let me tell you what cognitive bias is. Cognitive bias, how do I explain it? Is a systematic error in thinking that affects decisions and judgments that we all make. I learned that when I was studying hypnotherapy. Never mind, but years ago, many years ago. It's how the brain takes mental shortcuts, if you will, often unconsciously, but nonetheless, taking those shortcuts to simplify the world you're in, the world you want to be in, the world you believe you're in. Now, I'm not going to leave you guessing or wondering what I mean when I say all that. So let me give you some really clear, precise examples. Stay with me. Confirmation bias. That is seeking information that supports your views. Uh-oh. Donald Trump does things based on his view and his views alone. His first term, he was under more control by those who could outthink him. Right now, he's surrounded by those who don't think at all. Overconfidence effect. That's believing you know more than you do. I'm sorry. I just can't stop talking about Trump. This is leadership, folks. This is my series on leadership. Is that not who he is? Let's talk about Dunning-Kruger effect. Just a term I learned in school, yeah? The less you know, the more confident you feel. Does that sound stupid? It's not. It makes a lot of sense. Sometimes people have confidence that is not validated. In leadership, confidence without accuracy can be catastrophic. Hello. Woo! Is that not what Argentina is dealing with? Is that not what Venezuela is dealing with? Let's not leave out the United States. Isn't that what they're dealing with? The illusion of knowing. Where are you going with this, Renee? This refers to the false belief that we understand something fully in its entirety when actually we don't. That's why so many people, no matter where they are in the world, no matter what their belief is spiritually, no matter what language they speak, they will speak with certainty on topics, baby, that they've only skimmed. People skim read and then try to come back and speak like they are such an authority on the subject matter when they're not. I suggest another example here. They trust their gut over evidence. Hello, Donald Trump. How you doing? These are people who don't have a bloody clue. They're just living in a world in a double-wide trailer, uneducated. Hello. Mistake repetition for truth. Just because he says it over and over and over doesn't make it true. Hello. In digital culture, it's amplified. That's why when you listen to him speak, and you've often heard me say he's a dissonant leader because he's disconnected here and with the people. Social media also rewards confidence, not accuracy. That's a great platform, y'all. It really is. Social media, oh la 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 la. But honestly, it really depends on what you put on it. Everybody's not interested in looking at the food on your plate. It echoes chambers and reinforces pre-existing beliefs. In another broadcast before this, I talked about a man named Jeremiah in the Bible. And before I got into it, I went ahead and said, you don't have to believe in God. God believes in you. Where am I going? Leaders repeat talking points without internal examination. In other words, they'll pound it on you, but it's not in them. They'll say it over and over and over and drive it to the ground in you when not one word of it is within them. Now, why does this matter for leadership? Shall I tell you why? Because leaders, listen to me, please. Leaders who suffer from the illusion of knowing ignore feedback. Leaders who suffer from the illusion of knowing suffer from feedback. Donald Trump don't take feedback from nobody. That's the reason the country's in the toilet. But even the people that are with him that could give him feedback, they don't know either. They're just as delusional as he is. They surround themselves with yes people. Oh my God. I promise you, when I wrote this, when I prepared this, I was trying to do something that... Does Donald Trump not surround himself with loyalists, they call it? Yes, people. They make policies based on assumptions, not data. Look at how they're trying to extrapolate data, remove data, delete data, hide data, like the Epstein files. Oh yeah, I'm going there. We need leaders who question, not command from a perch of unchallenged beliefs. That's my quote. Let's talk a little more about this delusional cognitive bias in leadership. Is it possible that unlearning as a leadership can be a skill? Is it possible to unlearn bad behavior? Of course it is, no matter how old you are. But haven't you heard that phrase, you can't teach a dog new tricks? Don't you dare believe that, because you can break his leg and I guarantee you he'll never do what you told him not to do again. So to lead in this century, leaders must, and we as citizens must demand, unlearn outdated beliefs. Number one, leaders must be coachable. Number two, leaders must be approachable. Number three, leaders must be lovable.